So looks like it's a DI. Direction says, please read the information carefully and answer the question that follows. The following bar chart shows the number of cinema screens per 100,000 population for the top 10 cities in the world in terms of the highest number of cinema screens per 100,000 population. So we have got Austin at 19.1, Zurich at 15.1, and so on and so forth. So let's look at the first question, and you guys should also try along with me. Okay. So the question says, how many of the cities have at least 10% more cinema screens as compared to the average number of cinema screens per 100,000 population for the 10 cities shown in the graph above? So we need to find out the average of the cinema screens, and we have a total of thankfully 10. So the calculation is not going to be that difficult. So let's calculate the average as of now. So we have got 9 plus 1, 10, 9 plus 1, 10. So we have 20 in hand, 30, 40, 46. So we have got 0.6 and there is a carry of 4. Then we have 5 plus 3 plus 2, that is 10. And then we have 9 plus 1, that is 10. And then we have 20 so far, 22 plus 4, 26. So there is a carry of 2. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Of course, you have got 1 in the tens place for each of the 10 values. So that's going to be 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. So this is the sum of all the cinema screens per 100,000 population. So the average is going to be this divided by 10, which is going to be 12.66. Now the question says, how many of the cities have at least 10% more cinema screens? So if I multiply this by 1.1, or we can say if I increase this by 10%, I will have 12.66 plus 1.26. This will result in 13.92. So we need all the cities which have got more than 13.92 cinema screens. So we can very clearly see that it's not Lisbon. We have got Austin and Zurich. So we have got 2 such cities which is more than 10% of the average number of cinema screens across the 10 cities. Right? Okay. The next question. The following graph shows the ratio of sale to purchase of an item by 2 shops over the given months. So we have got sale to purchase, as in we are given SP upon CP, which is nothing but the multiplying factor of profit percentage, if you know that. So if I look at shop A, it's 0.8. So selling price upon cost price is going to be 0.8. So that's a 20% loss. So we can clearly see that this 1 represents no profit, no loss, right? And anything above 1 means profit, anything below 1 means loss. Okay, so let's look at the questions. So I believe there is again one question from here. No, Pranav, it's not. It's only on YT as of now. It's not multi-streamed. Okay. Yeah. So let's look at the question. If the sale of shop B in the month April and the purchase of shop A in the month May are equal, what will be the ratio of the purchase of shop B in month 2? So purchase, instead of purchase, we'll be using cost, and instead of sale is sale itself. So we are talking about the month of April for shop B. Orange, April is 0.8. So we can say that sale upon cost, let's write purchase only. This is 0.8 for shop B in the month of April. And the purchase of shop A in the month of May. So we are talking about the month of May and shop A, right? That is blue color. So we have got sale upon purchase being 0.6 for A in the month of May. Now, what is the relation given between these two ratios? It is given that sale of shop B, this part, and the purchase of shop A, this part, they both are equal. So if I call this as an X, this is also X, or I can call each of them to be 1 and 1. So rather let's take 1 and 1 because we need to find the ratio, so it doesn't matter. What will be the ratio of purchase of shop B? So what will become the purchase from here? So can we say the purchase of shop B in the month of April will become, if I cross multiply 1 by 0.8, which is 10 by 8, which is nothing but 5 by 4. Okay. And sale of shop A. So from here, can we say sale of shop A in the month of May is going to be 0.6 into 1, which is 0.6, which becomes nothing but 3 upon 5. So we are asked to find out the ratio of 5 by 4 is to 3 by 5. So 5 goes in the numerator, so 5 into 5, and this 4 goes in the denominator, so 4 into 3. So we get 25 is to 12, option B. Right? Straightforward, a typical snap question. कुछ घुमाने फिराने की जरूरत नहीं होती उन्हें. Okay. 5 years ago, Rashmi's age was 5 times the age of Ravi. 4 years from now, Ravi's age will be half of Rashmi's age. Find the sum of the present ages of Rashmi and Ravi. So 5 years ago, so let's talk about 2018. So we have got Rashmi and then we have got Ravi. So if I say current age of Rashmi is S and that of Ravi is V, current age, ठीक है? Current, 2023. So 5 years ago, Ravi's age would be V minus 5, Rashmi's age would be R minus 5, and it is given that this is 5 times of this. Okay. 4 years from now. So we're talking about 2027. 4 years from now, the age of Rashmi is R plus 4, that of Ravi is V plus 4. Ravi's age will be half of Rashmi's age, or we can say that Rashmi's age is going to be 2 times of Ravi's age. Right? So we need to find out the value of R plus V from here. So we are supposed to solve these two equations and and get the value of R and V from there, and that will give us the answer, right? So that is one way to solve this. Well, while I was writing the equations, I was like, thoda sa lengthy jaane wala hai. So of course it's lengthy. So the solution is apt, right? We will get the answer. It's very straightforward. But is there any shortcut? Well, there is a shortcut, and there is generally the shortcut whenever we deal with questions based on ratios or averages like these. Think like this, of course, because we have options. The sum of Ravi and Rashmi's age is something right now. Sum. So Ravi's age is there, Rashmi's age is there. So if I talk about 5 years ago, so 5 years ago means Ravi's age will decrease by 5, Rashmi's age will decrease by 5, as in their sum should be 10 years from what their current sum is. So their current sum is X. Then 5 years ago, the sum of their ages will be X minus 10 and not X minus 5. I'm talking about sum, not average, right? X minus 10. Now that X minus 10, if you look here, the ratio of Ravi and Rashmi is 1:5. Ravi ka age jo bhi hai 5 years, that is Rashmi's age ka 1/5, or we can say Rashmi's age is 5 times of Ravi's age 5 years ago. So can I say their sum should be in the table of 6, 1:5 or 5:1, in whichever way you take. So whatever sum is given to us, if we subtract 10 from there, I should get a number which is in the table of 6. So this will result in 15, which is not in the table of 6. This will become 16, not in the table of 6. This will become 17, not in the table of 6. This will become 18, which is in the table of 6. So D ho jayega answer, without doing any calculation whatsoever. Also, if we talk about their present ages sum is is x, then 4 years down the line, 4 years from now, the sum of their ages will be x plus 8. And since it says they're in the ratio 1:2 or 2:1, आप किसी भी order में लो, their sum should be in the table of 3. So that is another way to look at it. As in, if I add 8 to this, it should be in the table of 3. 25 plus 8 is 33. It is in the table of 3. 26 plus 8 is going to give us 34, not in the table of 3. 27 plus 8 is 35, not in the table of 3. 28 plus 8 is 36 in the table of 3. So, इस case में what happens is, if I'll use the 2027 का data, I'll get two options, right? A and D. तो यहाँ पर फिर वो हो गया. I'll have to further shortlist. But coincidentally, if I choose only 2018's value and try to verify it, I'll get only one option as the answer. So either आप equations लिख के solve कर लो या common sense. Next question. The roots of the equation when p is less than q are real and equal, real and unequal, imaginary, cannot be determined. Because we have an option which says cannot be determined, so it becomes little tricky to actually solve this. Little tricky matlab as in we can't assume values, because the moment I see variables, the thing is कि आप value assume करो और आपको हो जाएगा. I mean, I can still assume values, but then I'll have to assume two such values so that it contradicts, something like that. So what shall I do? दो तरीके, वैल्यू अज्यूम करूं चलो. If we want the roots and the option says real, imaginary, something of that sort, so can we say we are dealing with discriminant here? So discriminant over here is going to be b square minus 4ac, right? So this is going to give us, if I take out p minus q common, I'll be left with p minus q minus 4 times p minus 4 times q. So this gives me p minus q, and then p minus 4p is going to be minus 3p minus q minus 4q is going to give us minus 5q. So I can rearrange it as q minus p into 5q plus 3p. Now, since p is less than q, the first factor is positive, second factor is also positive. And since it doesn't say which one is negative or positive, तो हमें नहीं पता, right? As in, we can have cases where p and q, they both are positive. When this happens, this is going to be a positive value overall. Second scenario is if p is negative and q is positive. बिल्कुल हो सकता है, p is less than q. If p is negative and q is positive, so it can be anything, as in it can be positive, it can be negative, it can even be 0. Third is if p and q, they both are negative. If they both are negative, it will still give you a positive answer. So, इस case के कारण we are not sure what is going to happen, right? So we will have cannot be determined as the answer. So thankfully it was not as difficult as I was assuming it to be at the beginning of the solution. Well, there is another way. आप values assume कर लो. So let's take p is equal to 1 and q is equal to 2. If you do that, you will have minus x square minus x minus 3. The discriminant for this is going to be minus 1 ka square minus 4 into minus 1 into, oh, we do have a minus here also. Okay, fine. So ये plus हो जाएगा. So this will become plus. So 4p plus p will become 5p. Things get easier. and minus q plus 4q gives us minus 3q, sorry, plus 3q, and यहीं रहने देते हैं. Now p is less than q, so this term is going to be negative, right? So this one is going to be negative and this is going to be negative. मेरे को अभी ध्यान आया है कि इधर minus है, plus नहीं है. So 4ab will have a plus 4. Minus 4ab becomes plus 4ab. Anyways, this becomes 4a minus 1 and then we will have minus 3. So this gives us negative value. Don't solve it. कितना magnitude नहीं solve करो, negative आएगा ना. So if this is negative, so when discriminant is negative, we get imaginary roots, right? Second is if I take p as to be negative, negative matlab let's say minus 3 and q as simply 1. ये भी एक possibility where p is negative, less than q, definitely. So if I put these values, I will get minus 4x square and then minus 4x and plus 2. Here discriminant is going to be minus 4 ka square minus 4 times AC. So this gives us definitely a positive value. So this is real. So आपको imaginary भी possible है, real भी possible है. The answer is cannot be determined. So these are the two approaches, one putting in the value smartly and the second by taking cases. ठीक है, proper solution, discriminant निकालो and then verify. CBD. A shopkeeper bought 2 types of tea. अच्छा, let's check. हाँ मुस्कान, I saw that. मेरे को वो दिखा. ठीक है, लेट मतलब बहुत लेट नहीं दिखा पर दिख गया. Okay, next. A shopkeeper bought 2 types of tea, T1 and T2, costing rupees 18 and 25 per kg. So rupees per kg. अच्छा नहीं, ऐसे लिखना चाहिए. This is in rupees per kg and this is type 1 and this is type 2. After mixing the two in a particular ratio, he incurred a profit of 10% by selling the mixture at rupees 29.7 per kg. So what is the average? So after getting a 10% profit, it ends up at 29.7. So किसी भी number को 10% बढ़ा के 29.7 अगर हो जाता है, तो that value is supposed to be 27. So the average is 27. Clearly, the average of 18 and 25 should lie between them and not beyond them. ये कभी नहीं हो सकता. Average of 18 and 25 can never be more than 25, cannot be less than 18. Well, it can't be even 18 or 25, right? So what is the ratio in which these are mixed? नहीं हो सकता, not possible. Average always lies between the smallest and the largest of the given numbers, not beyond them, right? अरे क्या करते हो आप लोग? Guys, allegation लगाने से पहले please always pay attention to one thing. कि is this number between the above two numbers? If it is, go ahead with the allegation. If no, wrong data. As in, it's not possible. आप ही बताओ 2 and 4 का एवरेज 5 हो सकता है क्या? करो कैलकुलेट यूजिंग दिस फॉर्मूला. It can't be there. I mean, it's not possible, right? You can't do that. So that's where people make mistake. They're like, allegation सीख लिया, मेरे को shortcut पता है. पर there is a limitation. There is a thing that you should take care of it. Before you start solving, take a second, take 2 seconds, 5 seconds to verify that. Okay, next question. 6 friends went for a picnic in a 7-seater private jet. If exactly 2 of them know how to fly the jet, then find the number of ways they can be seated in the jet. It is known that the jet will be flown by the person who knows how to fly it. this is little tricky because how the seats are arranged, that matters, right? Well, if I consider all the seats on the same side, that will be wrong. So this includes a bit of science कि आपको पता होना चाहिए that in an aeroplane, if you take along the nose until the tail, it's completely symmetrical on the left and right. And if you think about it, it is kind of compulsory to distribute the weights equally, right? So the number of seats to the left of that symmetrical line should be same as the number of seats to the right of that symmetrical line. What I'm trying to say is, it looks like, okay, if this is the jet, you have got this axis of symmetry. And since it's a 7-seater private jet, so most probably there is one person who's flying, and then you have got 2 seats to the left, 2 seats to the right, 2 seats to the left, 2 seats to the right. So that acha, nahi, this is not possible, because then it will be more than that. So it looks like 7 में से एक उधर हो गया, then you have got 3 seats to the left and you have got 3 seats to the right. This is how it should look like. Though they have not mentioned how the seats are arranged, which is wrong. They should have at least given, they should have given the shape. Okay. Okay, let's take the cases and see if it works out. Suppose the plane is such that we have got one pilot and then you have got 6 seats in a row. So there are 2 pilots, right? Exactly 2 of them know how to fly the jet. So we know those 2 people, let's call them A and B. So when A is there, the remaining 6 people can be distributed in 6 factorial ways. In this example, in the example that I have chosen, thoda sa zyada science laga diya. If A is the pilot over here, then the 6 people can be seated in 6 factorial ways, which is going to be 720, which is 720. 6 factor, I believe everybody knows is 720, right? So answer C and D to nahi lag raha. It doesn't look like that. Now, when B comes in, then also we have another 6 factorial. So total number of cases will be 2 times of 6 factorial, which gives us 1440. Things will change, guys. If you're thinking, sir, देखो फर्क नहीं पड़ा ना. It will change. What if the 6 people are seated within the flight? एक pilot इधर है, and the people are seated such that they're seated around a circular table. तब क्या करोगे? Because nothing is mentioned. ये private jet है, कैसा भी हो सकता है. So the answer won't be 1440 then. It will reduce. It will become 240 then. So most probably they're talking about these 2 cases. Let's see the answer. 1440. So they were talking about straight line. What did you guys think? Right, right. You guys are correct. Okay, the edges of a cuboid are in the ratio 25, 24, and 7. They form a triplet, right? The length of the longest rod that can be placed inside the cuboid is 50 root 2. If this cuboid is melted and recast into a cube, what will be the length of the edge of the cube? Okay, so that longest one is about converting ratio into unit. Okay, so I was thinking why have they given us the second statement? So we have a cuboid where the dimensions are 25, 24 and 7. 25x, 24x and 7x because it's ratio. So the longest diagonal, okay, is going to be under root 7x whole square plus 24x whole square plus 25x whole square. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but 7 and 24 square results in 25 square. So this is 25x whole square plus 25x whole square. If I take out 25x outside, I'll be left with root 2. Now, this longest diagonal is given to us as 50 root 2 centimeter. So we can say the value of x is going to be 2 centimeter. Okay? So the length, breadth and height are 50, 48 and 14 units in centimeters, actually, not units, centimeters. Now the question says they have recast this into a cube. Of course, a cube has same dimension, right? So what will be the edge of this particular, what will be the edge of this cube? Edge is asked, not surface area or something. So as per the question, we can say that the volume of this cuboid should be equal to the volume of this cube, right? We need to equate that. So we will have 50 into 48 into 14. This is equal to, if I call the edge to be S, so we get S cube. So we need to convert this into perfect cube, right? So we have 2 into 5 square, 48 is 2 to the power 4, 16 into 3 and 14 is 2 into 7. Well, the only thing that will come outside is going to be 2 to the power 4, 2, which is going to be 2 to the power 6. 2 to the power 6 जब cubes के अंदर से आता है, cube root के, sorry, not cube. So I'll get 2 square outside and I'll be left with 25 into 3 into 7, which is 21 into 25, which is going to give us 525. So 4 cube root of 525. No other option has 4 outside. So B is the answer. Okay. Next, what is the least possible number that must be subtracted from 15, 21 and 31 so that the resulting numbers are in mean proportion? So options, 15 minus 6. By the way, what do you mean by the mean proportion part? Mean proportion would mean, suppose I subtract x from each of the three. So we have 21 minus x ka whole square is equal to 15 minus x into 31 minus x. In other words, mean proportion is nothing but geometric mean of three numbers. Okay. So if I use the first option, I'll get 21 minus x, which is going to be 15 into 15. This is going to be 15 minus 6, 9 and 31 minus 6, 25. 3, 3, 5, 5. Perfectly, it makes sense. The smallest number being 6. Okay, next question. If 3 times f of x minus 1 minus of f of 1 minus x upon x is equal to x, then f of x is. Okay. This can be solved in at least 2 different ways. I think the fastest way is going to be by assuming value. See, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some value of x in the given equation, and so a value such that it will make my calculation easier. So what I will do is I'll put the value of x as 1. When I put the value of x as 1, I get 3 times f of 0 minus f of 1 minus 1 by 1, which is 0. That results in 1. So I get 2 times f of 0 is equal to, so f of 0 is going to be half. ये आ गया मेरे पास. So question is saying what is going to be f of x. I'm saying if I put x is equal to 0 to make sense for this, baki sara history hai, don't forget about that. The new part is f of 0 is half. So if I want f of x to resemble f of 0, I'll have to put x is equal to 0 and it should result in half. तो मेरे को 0 पुट करना है करके सब जगह, और हाफ किससे बनता है? Which of the 4 options will result in 1 by 2? So if I put x is equal to 0 here, this vanishes, so I will have 3 plus 1, 4. This results in half. So A option can be our answer. If I put x is equal to 0, this will become 1 plus 1. 1/6 of this will be 1 by 3. So of course, nahi. If I put x is equal to 0, this becomes 2. Of course, nahi. If I put x is equal to 0, this is going to be minus 2. So A is our answer. So another way would have been by converting x minus 1 into x once and then 1 minus x by x into x once, which I believe is going to be more time consuming और बहुत लिखना पड़ेगा. Because functions questions are not such that, I mean, with such expressions you can eliminate something, you know, you'll have to write the entire expressions. So I think this is going to be the fastest approach. Let's see what you guys have to say about this. Okay, nobody said anything about that. Koi nahi. Ramesh has a bag containing 15 balls. On 7 of these balls, a number less than 0 is written, while on the remaining balls, a natural number is written. If 3 balls are selected at random, what is the probability that the product of the numbers written on them will be positive? Okay. So we have got 7 balls with negative values written on that. And then we have got 8 balls where positive numbers are written. I don't know positive because it says natural number, so obviously 0 is not a natural number. So 0 nahi likha hua, it's 7 negative and 8 positive out of 15 balls. Now question says if 3 balls are selected at random, what is the probability that the product will be positive? Well, if you look at the options, the denominator is 455, so we don't have to worry about the denominator. What we'll do is we'll look at the numerator and see when simplified, if possible, it will simplify to which of the 4 numerators, 194, 204, 214, 224. ठीक है? Unique ही आने वाला है. Don't have to worry about it. So if I want the overall to be positive, what are the cases? Well, I can have 1 positive value and 2 negative, or we can have all 3 positive. Do we have any further scenario? No. These are the 2 cases. In the first case, number of ways of selecting 1 positive is 8C1 and 2 negative is 7C2. So this results in 8 into 7C2 is 7 into 6 by 2. 42 ka half, 21. So this is 168. Or we can have 3 positive, which is going to result in 7C3, which is 765, which is going to give us 35. Is it 35? 765 by 3 factorial. So, yep, looks like that. Uh, so we have a total of 19,203. Okay. 7C3 is 7 into 6 into 5 by 3 factorial. So 3 factorial and 6 are same. So we get 35. Am I missing something? देखो एक चीज तो ये है कि they have not mentioned we have got distinct natural numbers written. It simply says a number less than 0 is written. What if there is a repetition? भगवान जाने. And if you're talking about product being positive, we have got one positive, two negative, or three positive. $42 का half, 21, 168. कुछ तो मिस हो रहा है. Of course, it says at random, so we don't have to worry about. None of the options match. Eight C1. Array yaar. Okay, this is 8C3. What a silly mistake. मैंने 8C1 पहले ऊपर लिखा ना, so I thought we were talking about negative. Sequence वही मान लिया मैंने. Well, 7 is about negative and 8 is about positive. So 3 positive has to be from 8. So it's going to be 8C3. So 8C3 is going to be 876 by 3 factorial, which is 8 into 7 only, which is going to be 56. Now it makes sense. 224. Such silly mistake. Thankfully, the option did not match. अगर 203 होता इधर मैं तो ये मार्क कर देता गलती से. Right? Silly mistakes. Doesn't matter how good you are at understanding questions. पर last step, solve करने में अगर गलती कर दी तो क्या ही पढ़ाई करी. So 224 is going to be the answer. Muskan, yeah, Suchanda, got it. 8, yeah, it should be 8C3. My mistake. वो होता है ना आप सीक्वेंस में लिखते हो तो आप लेफ्ट को लेफ्ट रखते हो राइट को राइट. दैट्स द मिस्टेक आई डिड. आई शुड हैव रिटन पॉजिटिव था पर ध्यान में नेगेटिव उधर था. एनीवेज, डी ऑप्शन. Next question. Chetan borrows rupees X at 15% per annum simple interest. He lent 1/3 of the amount to Abhishek at 10% compound interest per annum and the remaining amount to Pulkit at 25% compound interest per annum. At the end of the 2 years, if the total interest amount received by him is 435 more than the total interest paid by him, find the value of it. I don't think this is a question which requires any calculation. Without doing any calculation, can anybody tell me what is the answer? कि चेतन की वैल्यू कितनी होनी चाहिए कि उसका 1/3 आप कैलकुलेट करके अभिषेक को दे सको. ऑप्शंस में से एक नंबर लो, सच दैट यू टेक दैट नंबर, उसका 1/3 आप किसी को दो. कौन सा होगा? You can't do 1/3 of 2500. You can't do 1/3 of 3500 or 4000. So there is only one option. 3000. See, this is a snap question, and when I'm looking at a snap question, I'm thinking of level of difficulty 1. And if I find a question to be of a higher difficulty level, so I have to think in a different way. मेरे को दूसरा प्रोसेस उठाना पड़ेगा जिससे कि ये क्वेश्चन सिंपल हो जाए. Either options will be simple, either options will give you a lot of trick, or you will have to put in the values, you will have to assume the values. Proper solution in a snap question doesn't make sense. There is a reason why people are able to solve these questions under a minute's time. अब आप में से कुछ लोग पूछेंगे कि सर इसको प्रॉपर्ली सॉल्व करके देखो, बहुत लेंदी है, फिर ये कैट का हो जाएगा. सपोज हैड दिस बीन अ टीटा क्वेश्चन, तो ये कैट जैट का, स्नैप का नहीं है. सो विच एग्जाम यू आर राइटिंग, यू हैव टू अकॉर्डिंगली थिंक कि क्या प्रोसेस यूज करना चाहिए. फाइंड द मिसिंग नंबर इन द फॉलोइंग सीरीज 2592 1296. See guys, if I have 10 and 5, तो हमें पता है कि ये इसका हाफ होता है. और let's say if I have 110, तो I know this is 1/10. But don't you think it's easier अगर आप हमेशा छोटे से बड़े नंबर की तरफ जाए? Why? Because we may suck at multiplication tables. We may be very bad at it. But we are still better at multiplication rather than division. Division हमारा सबसे खराब calculation part hai. It's our, the utmost weak point we have in maths is division. So getting from a higher to a smaller number is a difficult task. उल्टा चलते हैं तो आसान हो जाता है. 6 becomes 12. So did we add 6? देखो सारे 6 के टेबल में लग रहे. I have not checked the first 3 terms. So what I will do is I'll see how many times is this. 12 2 times. So this is 3 times. This is 2 times. Oh, 2 3 2 3 is it? So 1296 का डबल होता है ये, बिल्कुल. 4 into 3 is 12, 32 into 3 is 96. Okay, it makes sense. So sorry. So that means this is supposed to be 3 times so that it becomes 2 times. So 72 का 3 times कर लो या 432 का half. Either of that will give you the answer. Half of 432 is, half of 4 is 2, half of 32 is 16. Or 72 into 3 is 7 into 3 is 21, 2 into 3 is 6, 21 and 6. Anyways, it's going to be option A. Right? So if you have a decreasing AP or GP, please always start from the other side. ठीक है? आप उर्दू पढ़ना शुरू कर सकते हो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. It's going to be easier actually in this.